The baby shower for my sister took place at a sophisticated tea in an elegant Boston restaurant. Suddenly, she seized the microphone and declared loudly, "Today, we're also honoring my sister's miscarriage." I stood, horrified, and said, "That's cruel." My mother grabbed my hair and hissed, "Don't be so dramatic." Then, she shoved me off the second-floor balcony. When I came to, the scene around me was surreal. The crisp autumn air in Boston was slowly giving way to winter's bite. Elizabeth Harrison sat by the window of her design studio in Old Town, sketching a nursery for her niece or nephew. As her pencil moved across the paper, her thoughts wandered to the child she had lost months earlier. "Elizabeth, there's a client on the line," her assistant, Kate, said, peering through the office door. Elizabeth took a steadying breath, forced a smile, and closed her sketchbook. She was a celebrated interior designer in Boston, renowned for her work restoring historic buildings. Her business was thriving, and she'd recently graced the cover of a prominent magazine. "Thanks, Kate. Please put them through," she said. After the call, Elizabeth's phone buzzed, displaying Mom. She hesitated before answering. "Mom, what's up?" she asked. "Elizabeth, you haven't forgotten about dinner tonight, have you?" Martha Harrison's voice held a faint note of disapproval. "It's to celebrate Rebecca's pregnancy. Your father chose a special wine." Elizabeth shut her eyes. "I haven't forgotten. I'll be there at 7. "Good," Martha continued. "And can you help with the decorations for Rebecca's baby shower? You're so talented at that." "It's next Saturday at the Golden Garden." "Mom, my work," Elizabeth began, but Martha cut her off. "I checked with Daniel. He said you're free." Elizabeth sighed, mildly annoyed that her husband had shared her schedule, though she knew Daniel was likely just being courteous. "Fine, I'll help," she agreed. That evening, Elizabeth and her husband, Daniel, drove to her parents' home. Daniel glanced at her as he drove. "Are you okay? You don't have to push yourself." Elizabeth managed a smile. "I'm fine. They're my family." Daniel nodded, though he sensed the strain. He loved Elizabeth deeply and was still navigating the complex dynamics of her family, who had seemed distant since her miscarriage. "Can you believe earning $10,000 a month from YouTube, all from home? That's what I did with Reddit stories, no face, no voice. Check the link below if you're curious." A random ad blared from the car radio. When they arrived at the Harrison mansion, Rebecca greeted them at the door, her pregnancy barely visible but her face radiant. "Elizabeth! Daniel! You're here!" She hugged Elizabeth tightly and kissed Daniel's cheek. "Everyone's in the living room." Inside, John and Martha Harrison sat comfortably. John stood, whiskey in hand, and shook Daniel's hand. "How's work, Daniel? Closed that case yet?" Martha kissed Elizabeth's cheek. "Have you lost weight, dear? You need to eat more and move past that miscarriage." Elizabeth forced a smile, though the words stung. Her family treated her loss like a minor inconvenience. Her doctor had warned that her physical health was suffering from emotional stress, yet her family dismissed it as overthinking. "How's your morning sickness, Rebecca?" Elizabeth asked, steering the conversation. "Barely any," Rebecca replied, beaming. "The doctor says it's a strong pregnancy. Mom always said I handle everything effortlessly, didn't she?" John grinned. "That's right. Rebecca's our star." Dinner centered on Rebecca's pregnancy, her husband Michael's achievements, and the upcoming baby. Elizabeth ate quietly, nodding occasionally, while Daniel held her hand under the table for support. After dinner, Martha pulled Elizabeth into the kitchen. "For the baby shower, I've made a gift list," she said, handing over a tablet. "And I have decoration ideas. Please handle it." Though reluctant, Elizabeth nodded. "I'll take care of it, Mom." On the drive home, Daniel spoke softly. "You don't have to force yourself with them." Elizabeth stared out the window. "They're family. If I don't help, who will?" The next day, her Aunt Helen, Daniel's father's sister from Chicago, called. "Elizabeth, I'm coming to Boston this weekend. Can we meet?" "Of course, stay with us," Elizabeth replied, genuinely pleased. Helen felt like true family. "I'll arrive Friday." "I'm excited to hear about your latest projects," Helen said. After the call, Elizabeth felt a weight lift. Helen's visit would offer comfort before the baby shower. That night, in bed, Elizabeth told Daniel, "Helen's coming. I can tell her everything." Daniel brushed her hair gently. "That's good. Family isn't just about blood, Liz." Elizabeth leaned against him. "I know, but still," she trailed off, unable to voice her deeper feelings. The day before the shower, Elizabeth shopped at Exit Market downtown, struggling to choose a heartfelt gift for Rebecca. She wanted to celebrate her niece or nephew but couldn't ignore her own grief. "Elizabeth?" She turned to see Michael, Rebecca's husband, arms full of shopping bags. "Hello, Michael," she smiled. He lowered his voice. "About tomorrow, are you okay?" His concern caught her off guard. "Yes, of course," she said reflexively, but his earnest expression prompted honesty. "No, it's not easy." Michael nodded. "I understand. Rebecca and your parents, they can be thoughtless sometimes." "Thank you, Michael," Elizabeth said, touched. "It means a lot that you care." "If you need anything, I'm here," he said before they parted. At home, Daniel looked puzzled, staring at his laptop. "Have you seen Rebecca's Instagram?" Elizabeth shook her head. He showed her a post, "Big surprise tomorrow. I've planned something special for someone." Anxiety surged through Elizabeth. What could it be? "I don't know," Daniel said, "but I have a bad feeling." Elizabeth exhaled. "Maybe it's a gender reveal." Daniel wasn't convinced but stayed silent. That evening, Helen arrived, vibrant despite her long trip. At 60, with short gray hair and sharp blue eyes, she exuded candor. "Elizabeth, you've lost weight," she said, hugging her tightly. "Are you okay?" "Just busy," Elizabeth replied, but Helen's perceptive gaze saw her exhaustion. After dinner, on the patio under the stars, Helen sipped wine and asked, "How did your family handle your miscarriage?" Elizabeth hesitated. "Why do you ask?" "Daniel's worried," Helen said. After a pause, Elizabeth admitted, "They don't care. To Mom and Dad, only Rebecca's pregnancy matters." Her voice cracked. "The day after my miscarriage, Mom said, 'Try again soon,' like I'd lost a toy." Helen's face hardened. "That's awful." "Their family," Elizabeth said, almost defensively. "Family should value your pain," Helen countered. "Love and respect make a family, not just blood." Tears filled Elizabeth's eyes. Why are they so cold when they're supposed to be family? Helen's question left her speechless. Daniel stepped outside, his face tense. Rebecca called. "She's planned a special presentation for tomorrow but won't say what." Elizabeth's unease deepened. That night, nightmares haunted her, a crowd ignored her cries, and Rebecca's smile hid malice. "Liz!" Daniel woke her. "You were screaming." "Just a bad dream," she lied, too scared to voice its vivid cruelty. At breakfast, Helen noticed Elizabeth's pallor. "You didn't sleep well." Elizabeth smiled faintly. "I'm fine." "You don't have to go today," Helen urged. "Say you're unwell." Elizabeth shook her head. "They just criticize me more." "That's their issue, not yours," Helen said. "I'm going," Elizabeth insisted, "but I'll leave if anything happens." Daniel and Helen nodded. "We'll be there," Daniel promised, squeezing her hand. The three prepared for the event. Elizabeth wore a pale blue dress and carried the gift, outwardly composed but inwardly turbulent. Before they left, Helen gripped her arm. "Remember, there are people who love the real you." Gratitude warmed Elizabeth's heart. The Golden Garden, a grand 19th-century mansion turned restaurant, was where the shower was held. Elizabeth had helped design its modernized historic charm, but today, she felt no pride. "Liz, you okay?" Daniel asked, touching her arm. "Yes," she said, steeling herself. "Let's go." The second-floor banquet hall glowed with pink and blue balloons. About 20 guests mingled, many gathered around Rebecca. As Elizabeth, Daniel, and Helen entered, Martha rushed over. "You're here." Her voice was warm, but her eyes sharp. "Rebecca's waiting." "And Helen, it's been a while." "Yes, Martha," Helen replied coolly. "You look well." Ignoring Helen, Martha pulled Elizabeth's arm. "Come greet Rebecca." Rebecca, in a stylish maternity dress, stood with Michael, whose expression seemed strained. "Big sister, you came." Rebecca's hug felt forced, performative. "Congratulations, Rebecca," Elizabeth said softly. "Lovely party." "All thanks to you," Rebecca said sweetly. "The decorations are perfect, and this venue is stunning." John approached. "My beautiful daughters," he said, eyes on Rebecca. "Elizabeth, the gift table's there. It's a special day, let's enjoy it." Elizabeth placed her gift, while Daniel and Helen watched her closely, engaging others in conversation. As time passed, Elizabeth relaxed slightly, helping Martha with food service. Suddenly, a hush fell. "May I have your attention?" Rebecca stood in the center, microphone in hand, ready to open gifts. "Thank you all for coming," she said, beaming. "I have a special announcement." The room stilled. Elizabeth noticed Michael's tense expression. "Today, we're celebrating two things," Rebecca continued. "First, our baby. And second," she locked eyes with Elizabeth, a cruel glint in her gaze. "We're also celebrating my sister Elizabeth's miscarriage. She's finally let it go." The room froze in stunned silence. Michael paled, grabbing Rebecca's arm. Elizabeth's legs shook, her chest tight. "Rebecca, that's," Daniel began, voice trembling with fury. "It's a joke." Rebecca laughed. "Don't be so serious. Elizabeth's fine, right?" Elizabeth rose unsteadily. "That's cruel, Rebecca," she said, her voice carrying. Suddenly, Martha yanked her hair. "Stop overreacting," she snapped. "Can't you take a joke? You always ruin Rebecca's moments." "Martha, let go." Helen rushed forward. "This isn't your business." Martha shouted. John stepped in. "Elizabeth, you're too sensitive. It was just a tasteless joke, not meant to hurt." "Not meant to hurt?" Elizabeth's voice broke. "She said she's celebrating my baby's death." "It was just a miscarriage," Martha scoffed. "You'll have another." Something shattered inside Elizabeth. She tried to pull free, but Martha gripped tighter. Their struggle veered toward the mezzanine railing. "Let go!" Elizabeth cried. "Apologize to your sister." Martha yelled. Daniel, Helen, and Michael rushed to intervene. In a chaotic moment, Martha pushed Elizabeth hard toward the railing. Elizabeth stumbled, lost her balance, and plummeted over the edge. "Elizabeth!" Daniel's scream echoed as he reached for her, his fingers grazing air. As she fell, Elizabeth saw her family's shocked faces, their regret dawning too late. A strange calm washed over her. This might be the end, she thought. Screams from below filled her ears, then she hit the marble floor. Pain surged, and darkness swallowed her. Her last glimpse was the ceiling mural she designed, an ironic final image. A white ceiling and antiseptic scent greeted Elizabeth when she awoke. "Liz, can you hear me?" Daniel's worried face hovered above her, relief in his eyes. "Daniel," she croaked. "Where am I?" "The hospital. You're going to be okay." Her vision cleared, revealing a sterile room and 4 drip and 2 figures by the window, Helen and a uniformed man. Memories flooded back, Rebecca's words, Martha's push, the fall. "What happened?" she asked. The man approached. "Miss Harrison, I'm Detective Martin. How do you feel?" "It hurts, but I'm okay," she said. "What's going on?" Helen took her hand. "You fell from the second floor, but miraculously, you only have a mild concussion, a broken arm, and bruises." "I remember," Elizabeth said. "Rebecca said awful things, and Mom, Michael reported it," Detective Martin said. "He says it wasn't an accident." A woman in a suit entered. "Elizabeth, I'm Carol Watson, your attorney, referred by Sarah Jenkins." "Attorney?" Elizabeth's confusion grew. "Michael told us everything," Helen said. "He's been questioning Rebecca and your parents' behavior for months." Detective Martin spoke carefully. "Your sister and parents are being questioned for causing you harm." Elizabeth's breath caught. "There's more," he continued. "Michael alleges they intentionally gave you drugs during your pregnancy." Elizabeth gasped. "That can't be." "He provided text messages, pharmacy receipts, and drugs found at your parents' home," the detective said. "They're being tested." "My miscarriage, they caused it?" Elizabeth's voice shook. Carol stepped forward. "It's speculative now, but evidence suggests they didn't want you to have a child." "Why?" Elizabeth asked. Helen answered softly, "Your parents saw Rebecca as the heir. They wanted her child to be the first, the true next generation." "But I took the Harrison name," Elizabeth said faintly. "That may have been the issue," Daniel said. "Plagiarized content has been removed." "Rebecca was jealous of your success and pregnancy," Detective Martin said. "Messages on her phone and testimony from friends confirm she couldn't accept your pregnancy." Carol added, "She said she couldn't forgive you for being pregnant first." Elizabeth's hands trembled as she covered her face, tears falling. "I can't believe it. They're family." Daniel held her shoulders. "We'll stay away from them. Your real family is here." "What about Michael?" Elizabeth asked. "He's in the waiting room," Helen said. "He'll see you when you're ready." Elizabeth nodded. "I want to see him." When Michael entered, guilt shadowed his face. "Elizabeth, I'm so sorry," he said, voice breaking. "I should have known sooner." "It's not your fault," she said softly. "Rebecca changed after your pregnancy announcement," he said. "She'd linger in your kitchen, offering to make tea or coffee." Elizabeth shivered, realizing the sinister intent behind her sister's kindness. "Why now?" she asked. "Because she was pregnant," Michael said. "She thought she'd won, and the baby shower surprise was to seal her victory." "You did the right thing," Elizabeth said. "You acted like family." Silence settled. Elizabeth lay in bed, reflecting on her future, surrounded by those who truly cared. Her blood family had betrayed her, but she was finding her true family. "What now?" she asked weakly. "Focus on healing," Daniel said, squeezing her hand. "Carol will handle the legal steps." "I'll protect you," Carol vowed. "True family," Elizabeth whispered. "Now I understand." A year later, spring sunlight bathed the kitchen table. Elizabeth sipped tea, reflecting on the past. Since leaving the hospital, she'd grown closer to Daniel's family, speaking often with Helen and visiting Chicago monthly. "What's on your mind?" Daniel asked, entering. "Just everything," Elizabeth smiled. "The trial, too." 3 months earlier, Rebecca and her parents faced justice. Testifying against them was grueling, but Michael's evidence, messages, receipts, and his testimony sealed their fate. Rebecca received 4 years, her parents 5 each. She gave birth in prison, and the child was in state care. "Michael's raising the baby alone," Elizabeth told Daniel. "He'll do well," Daniel said. "We'll support him. The child's innocent." The doorbell rang. Helen stood outside with a young girl. "Elizabeth, meet Sophia," Helen said. She wants to talk to you. Sophia, about 12, looked nervous. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Harrison. In the living room, Helen explained, Sophia's mother passed away recently. She has no relatives. You're looking for foster parents, Elizabeth realized. She and Daniel had discussed adoption, as natural pregnancy was unlikely post-miscarriage. Helen said you're kind, Sophia said shyly. Family doesn't have to be blood, right? Elizabeth's eyes welled up as she took Sophia's hand. Exactly. Love and respect make a family. That night, in bed, Daniel asked, What do you think about Sophia? She's wonderful, Elizabeth said. It's a big step, but I'm open to it. Daniel squeezed her hand. I'm thinking positively, too. Looking at the starry sky, Elizabeth reflected. A year ago, her blood family betrayed her, but now, new bonds were forming. Rebecca and her parents would relocate after prison, still blaming Elizabeth, but they were out of her life. True family, she whispered. Will be a beautiful one. Daniel held her close as a spring breeze stirred the trees, signaling a fresh start.